Still in. All right, new this morning, we're going to have to talk politics. And I know it's not everybody's favorite topic, but it is important because we have a major change coming to our region. We are losing Senator Tina Smith of Minnesota to retirement coming up here very shortly. And there are a number of people who would very much like that job. Introducing one of them, Angie Craig. Thanks so much for being here this morning in your race for the Senate.
Great to be here with you.
Yeah. So you rolled into our part of the region pretty recently, and you've been kind of making the rounds, Lakes Country, Moorhead, so on and so forth. Tell me a little bit about what you want viewers to know.
Well, I'll just tell you what I'm hearing from this part of the state in Minnesota is, the cost of everything is going up, and they want us to do anything and everything we can to help tackle that, whether it's healthcare cost, whether it's childcare costs, whether it's the cost of groceries when you buy your groceries every week, or whether it's housing. And so, I'm the top Democrat on the Ag Committee in the House right now, and so I also spend a lot of time with farmers, and it's the same there. Input costs are up, commodities prices are low, and a lot of people are struggling. So these are the things that I've always worked on as the Congresswoman from the 2nd District in Southwest Minnesota. These are the things as a U.S. Senator I would work on as well.
It's an, shall we say, interesting time to be potentially joining the Senate. You're already in Washington, and it's particularly with what's happened with the assassinations here at home for our state senators. It is a troubling time to think about being in politics and the risks involved. Why do you want to be in the Senate?
Well, keep in mind, I've only been in politics for 6.5 years. I worked in 2 healthcare manufacturing companies before I ran for Congress. But to answer that question, you have to know where I came from. I grew up in a trailer park. I was raised by a single mom. My own family didn't have health insurance at times. Look, the bottom line is I know how lucky I've been, and I want to make sure that every kid in every part of this country, every part of Minnesota has a fighting chance for that kind of opportunity. That's it. I want to help all Minnesotans.
Speaking of Minnesotans, like I said, they are grieving a particularly shocking several acts of violence. The rhetoric has been pinpointed as being part of the problem. How will you address the need to change things and make change by working across the aisle when you get to Washington, if you get back to Washington as a senator?
Well, I've consistently been ranked one of the most bipartisan members of Congress in the U.S. House, top 3% in my 6.5 years in Washington. And I do think that it starts at the top. And look, whenever I see an administration or a politician who is using a lack of civility, I call it out because I think that's important. But I work with my Minnesota colleagues where I can. I call them out for not doing town halls in their own congressional districts when I have to, because I think that's really important. But at the end of the day, it's going to take every single one of us, not just politicians, but community leaders, business leaders, faith leaders in our community to change the culture. And look, we are still in mourning in Minnesota over the loss of Melissa and Mark Hortman, and thank God that Mark Hoffman and his wife Yvette are recovering. But it's a tough time in Washington right now. But we have so many challenges in this country. We need good people to step up and run for public office on both sides of the aisle.
Okay, thank you so much, Angie Craig, running to replace Tina Smith. That seat is going to be coming up pretty quickly open. We will have all of her information about her platform and more on our website after the show, and we're going to come back and take a quick check of the weather after the break.